Alright everybody, this is going to be video 2 of this Nissan Pathfinder build. It's air ride, it's going to be bagged and bodied, and hopefully I'll get better at these videos. I know I'm probably not very good yet, so kind of bear with me on that. I'll try to show you everything that I've got going on, and I left you off with a pretty nasty looking frame. We're going to try to clean that up in this video and maybe get it closer to paint. So I'm trying to fit the gas tank and some wiring harness and fuel lines and things on the frame. I think is where I'm at. We're going to build some lower control arms, maybe this video or the next, and see where we can get with it. So let's get started. So I have got the lower four-link put together. It is moved over about an inch or so. I got it straight going back and built new link tabs here. Now the upper arm is all in the bag, but I've got my upper bag brackets already mounted in. I just used cardboard templates for those and just kind of put that together. My hole saw didn't work very good, so I just used a plasma cutter. I'm gonna have to go out a little bit further, clean that hole up. And this one, I gotta come out just a little bit with it to get it cleaned up so fitting will fit. I have relocated these tabs. I just went ahead and reused the same tabs. They came off pretty clean. The tabs on this side are going to have to be completely redone. But now I'm clearing my bag, so everything looks good so far. I'm fixing to cut this side loose and pull these tabs out. Cut that one completely loose. No, I cut this one completely loose and cut this one loose except for right here on the edge, and then I just bent it in. I bolted it back to this bar and pulled until it was clearing the bag where I needed it, and then I relocated this tab over here and just welded it back. That's what I did right here. Back's about to give out on me, so I may have to call it a day, but I really want to get rid of that and at least clean that side up, and then build cardboard template for the new tabs that I need. Maybe call it a day after that. So I have moved the upper bars so I have good clearance on both sides now. I decided to cut all that off. I'm going to clean that up, and I've welded tabs. I want to keep the tabs as short as possible. The longer the tab, the weaker it seems to be, so I did that. I put this in at an angle. I'm probably going to put a brace on the bottom side just to make sure that that's strong enough. But I do have an exhaust cutout right here, so my brace will have to be a little bit smaller on this side. And then, I'm not sure where I left off. It's been several days. I'm fitting shock absorbers. I was going to show you how they lay down. These are Nissan Quest 2000 Nissan Quest rear shocks is what these are. I use these on a lot of different vehicles. So what I've done is I took a shock and took the sleeve out of the bushing so that I can run a zip tie. And then I got a 12mm bolt. 1.5 thread, I think. It doesn't really matter, just something that fits the hole. And then with it completely collapsed, I set it in place and figured out where it needed to be roughly. And I have temporarily put this on, and then I temporarily built a template, temporarily put that on right there, and checked my height, and then adjusted it accordingly on the upward stroke, made sure that I had enough. I was using this one with it fully expanded, and I had to move it 2 or 3 times, and I finally got it. So what I'm going to do now is put another tab on this side. I'll just use this template and I'll just shave it down. It's going to have to go in behind that on the underside of that bar. And this one, it'll just have to be like that. I'll probably end up putting a gusset down. You can shape these gussets any shape you desire. You can make spider webs or whatever. People do that a lot. Just how much time do you want to spend on it? I cut this off the axle tube and I just moved it down, rotated it down, ended up loosening both of these, flipping this the other direction and just running the bolt back in, and then I tack welded it. So I will have to find the other end of this. I'll cut it off of a frame or something, and then I'll tack weld it and fix it right here, and make sure that my travel, make sure nothing rubs anywhere, make sure my travel's good. I might actually be able to put it down here, but my body is going to be real close to this, so I may not be able to, but we'll see. We'll see what I got room for. And I'm gonna clean all this up and then fit my fuel tank, and I will see if I can get a sending unit and fit in that and show you how to do that. Alright, I'll cut you back on a little bit. I went to my personal salvage yard and I got this off of like a 92 or 93 truck, I believe, regular cab. And this is trash. So that is a valve that senses a load in the back of your truck, and it's on a spring, and it will work like that as you have a load, and adjust your analog brakes in the back accordingly for your load. So we're not going to run that. Normally these trucks have right here mounted on the frame an anti-lock mechanism, but I don't have it, and I didn't think about it whenever I was removing this today. So I don't know what the deal was. This truck may not have had them, but the lines look good. They're not rusted. These are a little crappy looking, but I think everything will be fine. I cut this off of the frame, and I'm tempted to mount it right here facing the wrong direction, just because my hose will be out of the way of everything. It clears by good ways of everything, so I don't want that tube rubbing on anything. But if I mount it there, I have to make a hard 180 right here in my line without kinking it, so that might be a challenge. But I have 2 lines and I only need 1, because I'm not running the analog brakes is a return and a feed line, so I will just need a feed line and no return line. And right here I'm missing my, it's like a T-block for the brakes, so that it will T to go to the back and T to go down here, and then have the input from the master cylinder. So I don't have that. I don't know. I'll see if I can locate that. I may have to go back out to the woods. But anyway, I should have enough line. This thicker line is for the gas. So I had to bend these slightly to get them out of the truck because I was tired of laying on my back out in the middle of the woods. It's cold right now, so I didn't have to worry about snakes, but it's pretty gross. So anyway, I will probably make up what I'm missing with rubber line, but these will fit in here similar to that, and then go up to the fuel filter and all that. So I'll just have to bend these out a little bit. Back here they'll stop. Right around in here they will stop, maybe past the 4-link. But when they stop, I'll just use rubber line to go the rest of the way, and then look at routing these brake lines, and I will run the fuel lines in alongside the brake lines. I'll just drill holes and put weld bungs and some clamps along the way to hold them in line, hold them in place. And oh, I got Jason Thorbrick. I got this from him. That is DOM tubing. It's bent at 180 degrees. So I'm going to fix my lower A-arms. So get rid of that junk by using that. So what we'll do is cut this right there and use this half on one side and the other half on the other side, and we will come back. This may have to be moved, we'll see. Those aren't very strong anyway. It looks like 1/8 inch. Like I said before, these lower control arms were for placement. I was doing a test on placement, and that they're not designed to hold weight. That is 1-inch square tubing, probably 16 gauge, and these look to be 1/8 inch thick. So the bushing's good, so I can just cut all that out, keep my bushing welded on the end of that rod, get the rod to be the right length. So roughly half would be there. So I'll just have to move that 1.5 inches or so in, it appears. Not a big deal. I'll show you how to do that. Work through this whole vehicle together. So I'm gonna call it a day. See you later. Okay, it's been a few days. I think where I left you off was trying to fit this. It clears when it's lifted and lowered now. It will clear the body, it'll clear the axle, it'll clear the airbag. Everything looks good. I had it tack welded back here. I'll have to clean that back off, that spot weld. Just a lot of cleaning to do. I made a little curly Q right here to take up some extra slack that I had. I'm gonna make another bracket right here to hold that. And then I went through my hole right here that I originally had for the parking brake cable. So this line broke. I'm just gonna put a rubber line. It'll go through there. And then the other rubber line will start right here. So I'll have feed and return for my fuel. And these came off of the truck that I had out in the woods. I welded a tab and welded a bolt onto the frame and just bolted that on. Several different spots. And right here. And these are just plastic. I didn't have the other metal piece to go around these. They may not stay. I think it'll be fine without it. This metal in here is probably 3 layers thick for strength, and I didn't feel like drilling through it, so I just welded bolts on there. And along the frame, I've welded, I'm going to weld, this is a 1/4 20 weld nut. I drilled a 3/8 hole, and that sits perfectly flush so that'll be really good. I've got all of them along the frame. On the outside of the frame, I just welded 1-inch square tubing. It's not going to look most beautiful thing, but it will definitely work. I'm going to run 3/8 line, so I can easily run 2 3/8 line through this. So that's my plan. And let's see, I'm probably going to fix these lower control arms next. Get that lined out. I'm about done in the back. I'll still have to put gussets in. I'm going to take all this out and then gusset the frame up. And I cleaned up these compressor brackets. I just capped off the end of those. So just a bunch of cleaning. And right here, I'm going to notch this out bigger so that I can use this 90-degree, leave it connected to the airbag, and I can slide it in and out. I just have to have a larger hole. So I'm going to do that. Alright, a lot of cleaning, so I'll get back with you in a little bit. I decided to go ahead and do these lower bars. So I made this template right here out of cardboard, and I have welded both of them in. I've got pretty decent ground clearance. If you hit an animal, it'd probably cut it in half. 1/4 inch thick steel. It's like a razor blade. Got these bars cleaned up with a wire brush. And I'm just about ready, I think, now to start the front. So, unless I see something else back here. Alright. Alright everybody, I have got an extended cab frame. It's been sitting out here for years. It's kind of rusted. I was going to use this for placement on the body mounts and things for my extended cab hardbody build, which keeps getting put off. But I was going to show you, this is the tension rod. These get beat up really bad even on regular truck, and on air ride truck these get destroyed, especially these bushings, because of all the play and the movement up and down continuously destroys bushings. So it's probably just a good idea to go ahead and get rid of the tension rods. That's what we're doing with this. So I was going to show you, in order to make your bag placement, you have to make this, you have to cut this out. That is for your sway bar. I have welded my hole up. It's okay, I'm not going to run sway bars. Also, see how I've cut this out? You have to cut that out or it will hit right here as you're trying to lay out. You can probably lay on 18s, 17s for sure, I've done it, but maybe 18s you might have to cut that with a tiny tire. And in order to remove all of this, you've got this bolt that will go in here, and then you'll have a bolt here that goes through here. Just take all that out. This could be under pressure, so don't let it swing and hit you. That is the original spring. That is a torsion bar. You might have to loosen it back here. Just take your bolt out that you would raise and lower your vehicle with. Just take that out, and these got to come off anyway. So with this out of the way, you can slide this down and just remove it from here. No, it has to come out the other way. Yeah, my bad. Just undo it from here and it will slide out a long ways, but it'll come out. And then just throw that away or whatever. So I guess that's about it. And this right here is where the parking brake attached to, and also your carrier bearing will fit here. I don't know if it would be easier to try to cut something like this off of another frame I've got, or just build it from scratch. I might just build it from scratch. Alright, so I have made some templates here. This one was for the frontmost, but it works for the rear. So I just made it 1/4 inch thick instead of 1/8. And that one will go here to help brace that. And I've made that one out of cardboard to go on the front side. So that's what we've got now. I just bolted it in super tight and welded it in solid, and it's ready to go. So now I have to do this side. Gotta cut all that crap out, redo the whole thing. There is the hoop right there, and I just welded it in right behind this extra support. If it'll focus, this is the weld right here, and it stops right there, so I just notched it and welded it in right there. It should be good to go. Welded the bushing on. So I'm gonna do this one now, clean all that crap up. And these uppers I built a while back. That's just 1/2 inch thick plate. Just made some kind of shape, like my bolt point, and welded the factory tubes back here back in, and used polyurethane bushings. And on the hard bodies, this comes over to here to hold the shock absorber in between the upper control arm right here. It goes through there. So I just cut that off and welded in a plate. And to do a body drop, what I do, I just keep this section of the frame and keep this cross member. It just there's nothing really wrong with that, so I just pretty much try to leave that. I did lower the engine, so I just took measurements and tried to get the frame sitting perfectly level, which just lay it out on the ground is fine. And I took a angle finder, and I just marked a line straight down, and then once I had done that, I can cut it loose, and I know it's going straight down. And I just took it down, I don't remember how far, inch and a half, I forget. I did a 2.5 inch stock floor body drop, so my concern was the engine hitting the hood. Something loud going by. Somebody's throwing something away that's big. Alright, so whenever I did that, I know my engine's going to be low. My oil pan will be lower to the ground doing this. I may shave the bottom of it off. I've done that in the past. It doesn't hold as much oil. I don't really like doing that, but I'll see how low it goes. And then the radiator, core support, and everything has to sit lower. So these straps are in the way, but I just cut this off, lowered it down, and welded all this plating in to re-strengthen that. I'm still working in the floor because my table is cluttered really bad. I've got a really nice table, but it has got so much junk on it. So with this solid bar in, I'm going to pull this down to this tape later, but for right now I'm just going to show you what I got. I will angle my grease zerk down a little bit, and I will take this, and the way I've got it cut with a grinder with a flap disc, I got it shaped where it fits on pretty good right there. And then once I tack weld this in probably 6 spots, that will be solid, fairly solid. So I will just come to this side, and with this swinging on that right there, I can just figure out exactly where my notch needs to be right here. I'll notch this out right there, right behind where this plate on the bottom side is welded in. And then with that notch cut, the top of this bar will be pretty close to the top of that. So it should weld in really nice and solid. And you definitely don't want to get your bushings hot, so that's why I'm just tack welding this right here in place. And then I'll remove these bushings and then finish welding it solid. this side lined up really good, and it was tight just with that bolt right there. So then I put my tabs, I marked with a marker. One of those little Sharpies will fit right in through that bushing hole, and you can mark where this needs to be drilled, and then you can mark the other side. I actually had to take the Sharpie apart with a pair of pliers and shove it in that hole, and then put this other tab on, and then push it with the lid of the marker, and then I was able to get this mark on this one, so I knew exactly where to drill it. Those are 9/16 bolts, so it needs to be drilled 9/16. And anyway, I'm probably gonna clean that up a little bit. It doesn't really matter, but I want it looking a little bit better than that. Alright. So over here on the passenger side, I ended up having to move this to put all that together, and that actually goes to the clutch to go down to the transmission. That's where the clutch line, the rubber line, fits to the hard line. And I think what I'm going to do now is just finish up this video. I need an engine to be able to go any further with this, and I'm going to put the drive shaft. I may end up having to notch this for the drive shaft to fit, but I will have to put a cross member right around in here to put the carrier bearing in place. So I do have this fuel sender. I went ahead and bought one, so I may work on that too. So video 3 coming. Hopefully I didn't bore y'all too bad, like or whatever. All right, talk to you later.